Good morning, everyone. I am not feeling too well today, but I did want to make a video and share some interesting information with you. So we know that the brain is an antenna that stores memories, right? This is why it's important that you always act positively because you could think back into your history of your own life and you can remember snapshots of being a child or being very, very young. Your mind records everything. This is why it's important that you make good choices so you only have positive memories to reflect on. But here's the thing, there are actually three brains in your body. You have your brain, which is, well, obviously, um, you have your heart, um, which the ancients used to think was your brain. That's why you do things with all your heart, or you love someone with all your heart. Um, that carries memories. And your gut, actually, believe it or not, 90% of your serotonin comes from your gut. That's why you get butterflies when you're really happy or you're first with your significant other or somebody, and you get butterflies. But other organs get memories too. Um, and they showed you this in movies, in a movie called 21 Grams, I believe. Um, I'm going to just read this to you real quick. This is a paper. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is a paper that says changes in heart transplant recipients that parallel the personalities of their donors. So I'm just going to read you the abstract. Okay, and then we're going to talk about it for a minute. It's generally assumed that learning is restricted to neural and immune systems. However, the systemic memory hypothesis predicts that all dynamic systems or dynamical systems that contain recurrent feedback loops store information and energy to various degrees. Sensitive transplant patients may evidence personal changes that parallel the history of their donors. The objective of this study was to evaluate whether changes following heart transplant surgery parallel the history of their donors. We conducted open-ended interviews with volunteer transplant recipients, recipient families or friends, and donor families or friends who had received heart or heart-lung transplants. Main outcome measures were transcribed of audio taped interviews quoted verbatim. 2 to 5 parallel per case were observed between the changes following the surgery and the histories of the donors. Now, here's where it gets exciting. Parallels included. So, what we're talking about right now is when you get an organ transplant from someone else. Here's the thing, you have to go on medication for the rest of your life when you get an organ transplant because your body will view that organ as a foreign entity because it is not the DNA. I mean, and all the, not the DNA, but basically it's a foreign entity, and your body will try and fight it. That's why you need medication for it. But parallels include changes in food, music, art, sexual, recreational, and career preferences, as well as specific instances of perception of names and sensory experiences related to the donors. The incidence of recipient awareness of personal changes in cardiac transplant patients is unknown. The effect of the immunosuppressant drugs, stress of the surgery, and statistical coincidence are insufficient to explain the findings. What this is basically telling you is this, is that memories, when I was talking about the three brains, right? It goes further than that because there are people who get lung transplants or heart transplants that mimic the personalities of the people that gave it up, the people that died, so that you can give it up. Now, there's an interesting case that came out um, where they were talking about a man who had committed suicide and his heart went into someone else. And that man sought out the man's widow and they became involved. And lo and behold, this man committed suicide in a similar fashion that the first man did. So there are memories and there are personalities and there are things that are stored in organs. This is why it's so important that you act and you keep yourself as positive as possible, because everything gets recorded. It gets recorded in your cellular memory. It gets recorded in the Akashic records, 100%. So I just wanted to share that with you. And they dramatized it in a movie. Um, this story about the man who had the heart transplant. Um, and it was basically, the movie itself was good. Um, but basically, I thought um, that I would share with you the movie 21 Grams, 2003. Now, what is 21 grams? 21 grams is a theory that was proposed by a man in the 1900s that wanted to see the weight of the soul. And what he did was he weighed people as they were on their way out, literally on their way out. And he had them on a scale, a um, very precise scale. And when they died, he measured their weight too. And he did this for a few people. And what he found was that on average, people from when they were on their way out to when they actually were out is 21 grams. So the movie 21 Grams, in a film that plays with the idea of straightforward storytelling, a group of troubled people find that they are linked in unpredictable ways. Paul Rivers, Sean Penn, is an academic dealing with a terminal heart condition, but his life is changed by a car crash that seems unrelated to his ailment. The traffic accident involving ex-con Jack Jordan Benicio del Toro and the husband of Christina Peck, Naomi Watts, is one that ruins lives but also resurrects it. So they dramatize this, what I was telling you about the heart transplant and getting involved and having similar experiences. This is a real phenomenon that needs to be studied, guys.